am standing over here and speaking to you as a sustainability practitioner. Since yesterday, you must have heard a lot of things. In the environment session, I was there. Somebody was talking on COP21. Somebody was talking on some new UNFCCC or IPCC and all those. I am not going to talk to you all those jargon. While those are very important, what I am going to talk to you is how sustainability I have practiced in my own company and what is understanding of sustainability. But before that, let me give you a brief about Tata Group. And Tata is basically from India. It's a $108 billion company, and it's now a truly global Indian multinational company. And Tatas have almost 100 companies under its fold, and the flagship company is Tata Motors, which is a $42 billion company, and Tata Group is $108 billion empire. We operate almost on 166 countries, and I support 6,600 touch point across the globe. And I head so we have brands like Jaguar Land Rover and Tata brands under our fold. So with that brief introduction, let me start with you about sustainability and what is my understanding of sustainability. Sustainability is definitely protecting the people, planet, and the profit which is there. And profit is the primary thing. If you want to protect the people, if you want to protect the planet, you must have profit. So with that, clearly the definition of socio-economic and environmental sustainability is very important. So if you want to have social sustainability and environmental sustainability, you must have economic sustainability in place. That's what I truly feel. And that's why my whole discussion or the topic which I am going to have will be around business sustainability, because business sustainability will only lead to climate sustainability or social sustainability. That's what I truly feel. With that background, let me tell you, Tata Group has 2-3 companies which are called as a sunset industry. Let me be very frank. We have a big power company, Tata Power, which is one of the biggest power company in India, and we also have operation in Africa and other countries. But most of large part of that was coal-based thermal power plants, and definitely that is going to be a sunset industry. I personally belong to automobile industry, and because of the tailpipe emission, automobile industry is also considered to be a kind of culprit industry, because 14% of carbon which is emitted in India is contributed by the tailpipe emissions of the automotive. So this industry has also come under the threat as far as our developing countries are there. Worldwide also, all of you know that you belong to the GCC countries and the Gulf. Oil is also, under tremendous pressure because of the new COP21 which has come up, and people have been signing INDCs and all. In fact, it is NDC. So with that brief background, what I am going to cover is some humming sound is there, just what are the benefits of sustainability, and some interesting story around value creation. To me, sustainability is nothing but creating the value, and I will be talking a brief about that value creation, and in last 5 minutes, what are the initiatives I have taken. So with this background, let me start with what is sustainability. And sustainability is nothing, you can refer to the Brundtland definition, which is a classic definition. It is meeting today's needs without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their needs. So it looks like a little complex, but I can simplify this definition, and I can say that everything we need has to come from the environment or the nature which is there. If we want to live, we have to be, and then if we want to live, we have to be in sync with the environment which is there. You can't keep on consuming the resources, and you can't avoid replenishing those consumables which we have. Otherwise, today, as somebody was telling yesterday in the hall which is below, that we will require 2.5 planet to meet our requirement. So that will be the situation. So responsible consumption is something very important. Now some transition from the conventional thinking to a sustainability thinking. Conventional thinking is short term. Whatever is available to me, let me consume, let me meet my requirement of the day, and let me forget about. But sustainability tells me a long term thinking. What will happen to my generation? What will happen to my grandsons who are there? So that's what is sustainability thinking. So short term thinking or conventional thinking is an economy. Now I want to move from economy to integrated economy. Similarly, today the conventional thinking is with nature. Let's consume with nature. Today, outside nature. How can I have the offsetting of the resources which I have consumed? That I need to do. Today the thinking is linear. Tomorrow I want to have a circular thinking. How can I do the extended life of my vehicles? How can I have recycling being done? Or how can I have more of the recovery being done? That's the thinking which we need to develop. And from fossil fuel to renewable fuel, that's the one which is very, very pressing need which is coming up. Then I will straight away move on to the basics of sustainability. When I talk about sustainability, we need to think of 6 things. One is on the climate change, and when I talk about climate change, we need to clearly talk about the 6 GHG emissions which are there. Primarily the carbon dioxide, because we have conversion factors available for ethane, methane, CFCs, HFCs, all that. We need to think about the carbon primarily. We must think about stakeholders, and here stakeholders, all of you know, all of you are educated people. Stakeholders are somebody different than shareholders. Stakeholders are your community, stakeholders are your regulators, stakeholders are your media, stakeholder is your government, stakeholders are your employees. So there are 8 or 9 stakeholders which are, so we need to think about stakeholders. Societal development. When we consume resources, one of the capital which we use is the societal capital. How can we replenish that societal capital? That also we need to see. Biodiversity is something which is very important. We need to sustain, we need to maintain. In fact, we need to improve the biodiversity. We need to be carbon neutral as far as possible. How can we try to make, I know it is very difficult to make carbon neutral today, but I'm sure the research which is going on right now will make us carbon neutral in one point of time. And finally, business continuity. If we want to survive, your business has to continue, because if most of us are in the sunset industry, and if we continue the way we are continuing, we are not going to sustain tomorrow. So we need to be business sustainable also. Now the interesting fact, and this is not something which I have developed, this is the International Integrated Reporting Council, IIRC, which has developed. For any business to run, your 6 capitals are very important for us. The first one is natural capital, and I don't have to tell much about the natural capital. All of you know the resources, the minerals, the biodiversity, all those things which are available today, the raw material comes from the natural capital. The second capital is social and relationship capital. The social capital is the community, and this may not be a case with GCC countries, but this is definitely a case with the developing countries where we operate largely. And we have displaced community, we have displaced societies to set large plants over there. And if they are not taken care, probably tomorrow we may not be sustainable. So society and the relationship which is there with the society and the community is very important. The third important is the human capital, and I'm not going with the chronology. Human capital is also very important. All of us are into manufacturing industry, and we need people to produce. And when we need people to produce, we are putting people at stress, emotional stress, physical stress, mental stress, and their outcome is contributing into the financial outcome. Their input is contributing to the financial outcome. So we must take care of people also. Intellectual capital. Again, the people are using their brains. They are developing doing some R&D. They are taking some intellectual, creating intellectual thing which is translating into your product and making your company profitable. The manufacturing capital, the assets which we have, the manufacturing assets we have, the machineries we have, the buildings which are falls under the manufacturing capital, and lastly the financial capital, the capital which is required to run the businesses.
Now now look at the diagram which is there. On the left hand side you can clearly see the 6 capital being fed into the system, and the circle which is there is something, the businesses which we run into, the way we run our business, and finally there is an outcome. There is a minor difference between output and outcome. Whatever input we give, we will get some tangible output out of it, but not necessarily that outcome can be converted into a output can be converted into a outcome, because outcome we will produce. For example, in our company we may produce vehicles, but unless and until those vehicles are sold and it is not earning the profit for me, that is not going to be a outcome for me. So only producing vehicle doesn't help me over here. I need to produce vehicles, and I need to sell those vehicles, and I need to earn some revenue out of it, earn some profit. Then only this becomes a this thing. Now in this you can clearly see there are 6 capital on the left hand side and there are 6 capital on the right hand side. Well, clearly it is that the value which is created by this model, it's a resultant. 3 of the capitals will increase and 3 of the capital will decrease. Now when I say my company has to be sustainable, what do I need to do? I need to optimize all the 6 capital which are there, input as well as the outcome. For example, let me tell you, if I am putting financial capital, definitely it should generate a revenue out of it. It should generate revenue out of it. If I am putting manufacturing capital, it has to produce the product and it should deliver. Usually we will see that on the right hand side, the top 3 are increasing and the bottom 3 are decreasing. You will clearly see the human resources, the social and relationship, and the natural capital are depleting, and your profits, your manufacturing capital, that is the product which you have, and your intellectual capital is increasing. If I want to run a business in a sustainable manner, what I need to do is I need to optimize this. While I want to generate profit, I also want to see that how my human capital is eroded less. That is how I am taking care of my people, how I am ensuring my people remain safe, and how I see that the output which is again going, and the arrow which you can see, it is clearly feeding into the output is feeding into the input over here, so that I am increasing my societal capital, I am increasing my natural capital. And I know the 15 minutes time which has given to me, it is very difficult to explain you, but definitely offline I can explain you what it is. I have put up a Tata Steel case over here, which is one of the Tata Group companies, and how we do over there. You can clearly see on the left hand side what are the inputs, and you can clearly see on the right hand side what are the outcomes. Here I can't say, looking at this number, you won't be able to say that this is a sustainable company, because you can clearly see the profits are not to that extent, to the extent the people capital and human capital and the natural capital are getting eroded. So if I want to make this industry a safe, sustainable industry, what I need to do is improve on your output. At the same time, how can you reduce your losses and invest on the other 2 capital, so that we can make this company as a sustainable company. So there are various initiatives we have taken at the Tata level. I can tell you how we do is how sustainability driven. We have policies and procedures in place. The big thing which we have done is the materiality matrix, and what are the issues which are material to us. So we engaged with our stakeholders. We identified 19 issues which were material to our this thing, and the red one which you are seeing is the one which are critical one. The yellow one which you are seeing are the moderate one, and the green one is the better one. But what we have picked up is our strategy is covering all these 19 things, but more emphasis on the red one. On the environment side, lot of work has happened over there. You can see we clearly have a climate change strategy and renewable energy strategy put in place. We have joined the RE100 campaign, which is done by CDP and various other. So we will slowly move our operation into renewable energy by 2030, in consistent with the NDCs which are signed by the government.
and so we will move our operation. We are also moving into the energy efficient buses, fuel efficient buses, and we are seeing that how can we reduce the tailpipe emissions which are there, and also at the same time we are working on the electric buses. So these are some of the models which we have developed. Life cycle assessment is something which we have started. How much is the burden which entire vehicle? So as of now, 9 vehicles we have done the life cycle assessment. We exactly know in which stage of the life cycle how much burden our vehicles are creating, and we are working on it. Renewable energy I talked about, and we are doing a huge work on biodiversity also. We have done the biodiversity management of all our sites. We know how many flora, what kind of floras are there, what were existing earlier, what are existing now, and what we need to do in future. And a lot of migrated birds, a lot of migrated species we are sustaining over there. So this is in a nutshell. I don't know whether I was able to make a justice with the time which was given to me. But sustainability is very important. Once again, in the last, I would like to say that we need to meet our needs, today's need, without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their needs. So thank you very much. Thank you, Chairman, sir.